his father.
Has forgotten the fate of his father.
I killed my heart.
Something troubles me. A force I had mercifully almost forgotten. One would not think that they could contain such power. One could rule the universe with it. There is only one lure for such disgusting goodness. Innocence. Innocence.
Special that I've been promising to show you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what side of the world you're in. I'm HalfLifeSistah, and this is my hubby Wolf King.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to my channel and to another episode of Sister and the Wolf. What's poppin', baby? You know what else is poppin'? Yes, baby, that's what's popping.
You got a foursome going on here.
I'm so happy. Finally, we got this shirt. We ordered about a month ago. That's him, and that's me.
Yeah, you've been working on this for a good minute.
Yes, finally, yeah.
Yeah, Danielle gave us the original concept and design.
Yes, Danielle is I consider her she's part of my team now, my graphic designer, okay? And she gave me the original design, and when she gave it to me, I tweaked it and changed my features a little bit, but she is phenomenal. We're going to be using her again in the future to do some animations for us, as well as some more graphics.
100%.
I'm super happy.
Yeah, link in the description to her Instagram.
Yes.
Check her stuff out. She's a good graphic artist.
So here we are with
Nightwish,
Pan, baby.
Pan.
Oh my God. Can't wait.
Once there was a silent canvas, sleeped in stories, unimagined birth of motives, hope and wonder. Winds will be named, words will shelter them. Something lyrical, there we came. Show the way to the great escape. Evoke the words, spark the brain. With apron all before ado. To labyrinth, to kiss the earth. To fallen stars, the there and back. We are the righteous of annihilation.
You really enjoyed it when it started to rock hard, huh?
Yes. Oh.
You haven't heard too many Nightwish,
man.
like real metal songs. Or...
That was dope. Oh my God. And I love that they gave me more of that at the end.
Yeah. It's interesting. This is more of like a classical...
Traditional Nightwish?
Yeah, a little more of an older Nightwish.
Oh my God.
It still has some of that new sound, but the opening sequence with the organ is very similar to something Tomas has done in the past, with older Nightwish. That's a very similar... The tone of the organ and also the way he played it was very, very similar to another Nightwish song.
Oh my God, that was...
Which is nice because it gives you kind of that nostalgia feel of classic Nightwish when you hear that Tomas put that in there.
A lot of people in the comments really wanted this reaction to happen. They love this song. I think some of them said it's their favorite.
Yeah, this is going to be a grower for me, I think, because I enjoyed it, but I didn't hear anything new. So it didn't like destroy me or anything. It wasn't like that ending.
Gotcha. Yes, baby. Right.
But it's definitely a solid song, and I definitely hear parts that I'd like to hear over again. It sounded pretty nice.
Yes.
With the chorus singing and stuff like that was really nice.
Gotcha, baby. Yes.
But it wasn't different enough to where it was
this
like
is
blowing
different
me
for
away.
me in my ears as it pertains to Nightwish.
This should be fresh to you because you haven't heard much like this from Nightwish.
I love that. I want more of that.
But it's like I told you, they're perfectly capable of making heavy music.
I wasn't expecting that.
This is a relatively heavy song for Nightwish, yeah.
Wow. Oh, baby. They can do heavy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. I want more. I think it was a little too short, though.
It was longer than I think the other songs we heard from them on this album. Like, it seemed like Ad Astra Ad Astra was essentially an instrumental. But
this is like, it was like 2 minutes long. I don't know. I guess I'm just
Shoemaker seemed pretty short. This seemed longer than Shoemaker.
It's
just that impact of Shoemaker.
I just wanted more of it. I wanted more. They ended it too soon for me.
Well, that's good because that's why you would hear a song again, right? Because
the bass was so good and the drums were so good in this freaking
Kai was
song.
doing something very interesting in the drums.
Yes!
That I liked. That was different. That caught my attention.
It was so forward.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I did hear in an interview
so intentional.
That Kai had to change his kit for Nightwish because he needed to add to his kit because
he needed more
variety.
Right?
Well, they're doing more variety. Kai was talking about that it's actually a little harder playing for Nightwish. It's a little more challenging because when he's doing, like, for example, Winter Sun or something, he's doing metal fills and they're very, similar in kind of the blast beats and stuff that he's doing.
Gotcha.
But with these songs, because they're so different and they're trying to do unique things, he has to change up his technique and he has to do different things.
Interesting.
He also mentioned, was it Shoemaker or was it? No, Harvest, he said was based off of a Toto song. And I heard the Toto song and I hear what he was doing there. But yeah, so I find what they're doing texturally and intellectually interesting. And even though this song was a bit more basic in the sense that like I said, it didn't, nothing really surprised me here except a few things here and there that I'm going to enjoy listening to again. Overall, it was still an excellent Nightwish song, and it's nice to hear something a little bit more heavier on the album.
Yes, I enjoyed that.
I'm assuming this is intentional because there's too much of it in the song to not be intentional, but I think a lot of this stuff really does have a double meaning. In the lyrics are a bunch of Easter eggs of titles to movies and stories and books that are fantasy based. Okay. So once there was a silent canvas, the universe before the Big Bang.
Oh, that makes good sense.
So you've got a blank canvas, nothing on it. You have the Big Bang, and now you've got the universe painted over what was once a completely silent void.
Okay.
Sleeping stories unimagined. The earth before it could sustain life. Create the foundation for what would ultimately be life, and every living thing has its own story to tell. You've got the earth before life was on it. It's just basically sleeping.
Gotcha.
And then it woke up once life
that makes sense.
fermented on the earth. Birth of what ifs, hope, and wonder. All right, so the birth of life and our evolution to consciousness. That's what I feel like that means, because birth of what ifs, because while animals are of varying intelligences and instincts, It wasn't until humans developed the ability to puzzle solve, the ability to become self-aware, that we've added this ability to think not just where we are and what we need to do now, but what we can do in the future. Winds will be named, words will shelter. It's these winds that life can spread. It's kind of a precursor to life being able to spread, but also ideas, right? If you speak into the wind, it can blow an idea. Then something wicked their way came. It's a line from William Shakespeare's play Macbeth, and also a movie of the same name in the 80s.
My name is Mr. Dark. I advise you to respect it.
Then something wicked their way came, showed a way to the Great Escape. Now, The Great Escape is a war film from the 60s, and it's also what we do in our mind, I feel. The very essence of imagination is to escape reality. It makes me think of Pan's Labyrinth, but we'll discuss that. Do you remember Pan's Labyrinth?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Guillermo del
With the
Toro?
girl, right?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, we'll get that into a little bit later, but it's interesting that this line also makes me think that because she was essentially escaping her reality in that movie.
Right.
So she was using fantasy to escape a much more brutal
dark fantasy
and horrific
hashtag, okay?
reality. Yes.
Oh.
So evoked the worlds, sparked the brain.
Evoked the worlds, sparked the brain. Okay.
My interpretation of that is we speak the stories or sing the lyrics and picture in our minds a grand new reality filled with hope and wonder. We're evoking these worlds.
Yes.
It sparks our brain, meaning it can make new pathways, form new ideas, and growth. So it's interesting that in our development stages as kids, it is our imagination that improves our brains. It's not a coincidence that children use imagination during their development. It's not a coincidence that all kids have imagination and then they tend to lose it
as
adults.
Older,
it's because
Peter Pan. I'm sorry.
Well, yes, exactly.
No, really.
The reality is what we're finding out, you and I, Tomas, and other similar people to us, do realize that you don't have to lose it just because you grow up.
Of course not. Right.
We are very different from our parents. Our parents are very different from their parents. It seems like each generation has become a bit more
their own
in touch. Yeah, in touch with themselves, and don't feel like they have to put up this facade of adulthood that is perhaps an exaggeration of what we really need to be. This next line I found very interesting. An ape in awe before a door.
An ape in awe before a door?
So if I change the door to a monolith, a large black rectangular monolith. Have you ever seen 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I think so.
In the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah, I think I do. Yeah, with the apes. Yeah.
Yeah, the monolith represented man's evolution, man's intelligence, man's basically what made us who we are. When the gorillas discovered the obelisk, it sent them, it moved them forward. It gave them the idea to use tools, right? And it moved man forward in their evolution.
Yeah.
So the monolith kind of represents that intelligent and movement forward. Stanley Kubrick, the guy who did the movie, I believe what he was trying to say with the monolith is he was representing the monolith as actually the theater screen that the viewer was watching the movie on. Okay. What's interesting, and Kubrick is a genius at this, and intelligent people can tend to tell the future. And this is another interesting about sci-fi and fantasy, is that there's a lot of things in sci-fi and fantasy that have become reality. Touch screens and flip phones and things like that that you've seen in Star Trek and was supposed to be imaginary is now a real thing. And that monolith can easily flip over into a cell phone, into our cell phone. And here we are using that monolith, that we have that rectangular shape that's in everyone's hands as a means of education and moving man forward. Because as you all know on this channel, I highly value this phone technology that we have, because it literally holds all human knowledge within its internet.
Yes, it's right
and to
here,
be able to
man.
have
It's
it in your
right.
pocket is a
Yes.
step, is a leap forward.
To not have it.
Yeah.
I don't get people that don't have a smartphone. That doesn't even want no part of it.
Well, those would usually be older people. People don't understand. I don't know any young person who does
is
not have
true.
and again, that's something that each generation's kind of significantly different from the last. What was also interesting though is when, for example, when the apes discovered those tools and they used it to hunt for meat and kill animals and skin them and stuff like that, and they created fire. Ultimately, they turned it on themselves and started attacking another tribe, and there was a territorial dispute. And it kind of shows that on top of, as with the telephone and everything else, there's always some sort of downside to this new intelligence that we have, right? For example, Oppenheimer, it was this intelligent scientist who created destruction that he later regretted creating.
Which
And
was?
there's the atom bomb.
Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu was trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
It's haunting because he meant it and he felt it, and it's something that he had to take to his grave. My goodness, in the hands of madmen. This is crazy. we are so delicate. It's insane. Moving on to the labyrinth, and there's again just the word labyrinth evokes multiple meanings, because you've got the 1980s Jim Henson Labyrinth with Jennifer Connelly. You've got Pan's Labyrinth with Guillermo del Toro that we were talking about, right? Two very different films, but with a strange similarity. Both movies follow a young girl, who has grown up through a series of challenges in a fantasy realm to learn how to deal with their realities, right? But this is where they differ. Henson's version was a privileged one, where Jennifer Connelly is a spoiled brat who thinks nothing is fair because she has no adversity in her life.
I can't do anything right, can I?
And the lesson there is, by going through the labyrinth, she gets challenged and she gets tested, and she learns the importance of friendship. She becomes to appreciate her baby brother.
Forget the baby.
And it becomes a lesson for her, because she lives a life of privilege where she doesn't really have problems. Problems to her seem to be blown out of proportion. And there's even one point where David Bowie, well, she says it's not fair, and he literally tells her,
I wonder what your basis for comparison is.
So it's clear that what the message is trying to say there. But Guillermo's version,
Ooh, baby.
was about escapism and trauma.
Oh my God.
Okay, which is a very different thing, because now here we have a girl who, I could say she lives a life of privilege because technically her mom was well-to-do because she was taken care of by the general, but she could recognize the danger. She didn't like her situation.
She didn't, right.
The reason it's called Pan's Labyrinth is because Pan is in it. That creature that's in the...
That thing that looks like a freaking...
He makes it a little less humanoid, because Guillermo has a flair for the artistic, but technically that is a faun, which is what Pan is, which is a half human, half goat creature. So that is technically what he is in Pan's Labyrinth. That's why it's called Pan's Labyrinth. And he, being his mischievous self, sends her on a quest and tries to...
Don't spoil
If
it.
anyone hasn't seen it...
You guys have to watch. You don't have to.
You can choose to watch Pan's Labyrinth. Just keep two things in mind. It's brutal as hell.
Brutal, baby.
It's real as hell.
Ooh.
And should I say the?
Don't say anything about
I'll say nothing more than that. Guillermo does not mince words.
Job with that movie.
All right, moving on to the Keystoner. to look this up because I have not read Stephen King novels, and I never saw The Dark Tower because it got such bad reviews. So what I found out was that that's in the Stephen King's universe. So Stephen King has written a crap ton of books.
Yes, it's extensive.
Turns out he's created this interesting arc where there's a multiverse. So in The Dark Tower, which is that movie that came out with Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey that we never saw because it got really, really bad reviews. Idris Elba had like a 6-shooter. He's kind of have a cowboy hat on.
Oh my God, yes.
You remember the previews for that, right? We never actually saw the movie. But that was
sucks. You couldn't even watch it.
The reason that was supposed to be such an important movie is because it was going to really show that Stephen King universe that has been talked about. And it was supposed to show the multiverse and everything else, which I believe it did. But the Keystone Earth is basically our Earth. It's the real one.
Okay.
In a world with an infinite number of parallel universes where all the other books take place, Cujo and all the things you've seen, they're all taking place in the multiverse.
Okay.
And we, in our real world, are like experiencing these multiverses. So in a way, they can sometimes intertwine, and sometimes you'll see like little Easter eggs in it and stuff like that. If you look hard enough, you'll see Easter eggs.
What?
In other movies, you'll see Easter eggs for Pennywise. So it's a whole thing.
Really?
So it's the real world in which us, the reader and viewer, live.
Okay.
Death is permanent in this world, and time flows in a forward motion because, again, it's the real world, right? So it's represented by a rose that grows in a New York City vacant lot, according to my research there. All right, I'll just take their word for it. But yeah, so time obviously moves forward. There's no funny business. All the stuff you read in other Stephen King novels, they're technically multiverses.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Thank you.
To Fallen Stars. Neil Gaiman's Stardust, which is a novel and eventual movie where the main protagonist goes to a magical land on the other side of a wall and learns what true love is.
For your hand in marriage, I'd cross the wall and I'd bring you back that fallen star.
He initially wanted to bring the fallen star to his true love, or what he thought was his true love, but ended up being the star was his true love. So
the actual star?
Right. Claire Danes, in other words.
Oh, she's a celebrity in the movie. She's a star.
No, she's a fallen star. She's
literally a fucking fallen star?
Yeah, she falls, she craters. Yeah, she's a star.
Stop playing. I ain't got time for that.
It's a fantasy, okay? Again, it's the whole wall thing. On the other side of the wall is where the magic land lives. So you got England on one side, and then on the other side of the wall is this little...
Does she look like a star?
Don't overthink it. She glows.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She's a star to us. We love her.
She is. Do we?
Homeland. Great ending for Homeland. If you guys haven't seen it.
Talk about a show that when they ended it, they give it to you.
Shows end badly a lot.
The song, the show perfectly.
Yeah.
They gave us viewers, the fans, exactly what we needed.
As good as it's going to be to end something like that.
Exactly what we needed for us to be okay with the show ending.
Very few shows end well.
Unlike freaking Game of Thrones.
They don't even get me started with Game of Thrones, please. So, to Keystone Earth, to Fallen Stars, to There and Back. The Hobbit. Imagine music, dance, illusion, tales of dust, of man in the moon. And I can't help, because we just did Shoemaker, that he's not talking about that. I feel like it refers to the human face.
Circle.
And here's the thing, Man on the Moon Man in the Moon is like an old-timey film, I remember, where it's like, but it refers to the face of the moon. So when you say there's a man on the moon, because we all see like a face there, the eye and the brain, they're always looking for some sort of something to relate to, something to look for. So that's why we see like Jesus and toast and stuff like that, because we're always looking, our brain is always looking for patterns. I also feel like it has a double meaning there, where because he's talking about tales of dust, of Man in the Moon. Like Gene Shoemaker is literally dust in the moon. He's literally in the moon. So figuratively and then also literally, it works on both levels, I feel.
It does.
The Sea Lady, which is a fantasy novel. I had to look this up as well.
For some reason, I don't know why whatever, continue.
The fantasy novel by British writer H.G. Wells about a mermaid coming to shore. Wells said that the story reflects his own craving for some lovelier experience than life had yet given him. Trying to find fulfillment in life it's not a small task. It requires you to be very in touch with yourself.
Of course, you have to know yourself.
A lot of mistake people make, which is why, and I've spoken about this before, where we make, like for example, have a midlife crisis where we get to a certain age and we change everything about ourselves, is because we have not been in touch with ourselves as we were growing up.
Very true.
Or again, society's idea of what an adult should be. Perhaps we're living in a different way, and then once we're to a certain point where we realize we're past the halfway point to where I may be dead in the next 10 to 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not satisfied with what I've done with my life, then that suddenly becomes a very real experience where in your 20s you feel invincible and death is so far from your mind that you don't really care. But if you can be conscious of that over those 20s and 30s, you can avoid that shift, because if you can understand that your life matters now and not save things for later, and again, living a lie, do not live a lie and live for other people. You've got to be true to yourself. You can avoid that and get that fulfillment, hopefully, that life can bring, which is certainly, there's plenty there. Then the next line is snow, glass, apples. And this one I found interesting because immediately I'm thinking Snow White, right? Snow, glass, apples.
Okay, yeah.
Right, you got Snow White, you've got the glass coffin that she was in, you got the apple that put her in there. But no, it actually, in the phrasing in this way refers to a 1994 short story written by Neil Gaiman. The story retells the tale of Snow White from the point of view of Snow White's stepmother. So from this perspective, who typically is supposed to be the villain, the witch is supposed to be a villain there, the stepmother is depicted as struggling desperately to save the kingdom from her unnatural and monstrous stepdaughter. Ultimately, she is unsuccessful, as the happy ending of the original story still takes place despite her best efforts to prevent it. It's a way of showing two sides to every story. Everyone is a hero in their own story. So in other words, every good movie, like something that movies are doing nowadays that they didn't do back in the 80s or 90s. Like back in the old days, the villain was a very mindless buffoon, really, who just wanted to be bad, right? And it's not very believable, right? The best villains are the ones you can relate to, the ones you can understand. Someone like Negan, or someone who...
Or the Joker.
Or the Joker, where you realize where they're coming from. And even though they are technically bad, from their perspective, they don't think so. And that's the complexity of what human beings are. So I found that interesting overall. And again, there's that duality of perspective.
Wow. The song was beautiful. I enjoyed it a lot. And I was hoping that I can rock out today. I was really hoping I can rock, because you know I'm always saying before the reactions started, he cut it out usually. I'm like, I just want to rock out.
You say it every time, you just want to rock out.
I just want to rock out.
Oh, and you rocked out. Did you rock out?
I wanted to rock out a little longer, but that's okay.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Indeed.
My baby can rock out. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So cool.
So we hope you enjoyed.
Yes.
The lyrical breakdown.
I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
I hope you're right. I hope you're down in the comments saying, no, listen, bro, you don't know nothing. Where do you get that from? Be easy, okay? I think you did really well.
Well, again, it's my interpretation. Obviously, art is up for interpretation.
It's subjective.
And as you can see, a lot of it seemed to have multiple meanings.
I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up. Comment below on your interpretation of the lyrics of this song. Do not leave without subscribing, but also do share our content as well, babies.
And as always,
keep it metal. Metal forever, baby. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you all. Stay safe out there.
Yourself. Yes. Bye.
Care for one another, and look out for each other, please.
Indeed, yes. We're all connected.
We lost. Not while the tower still stands. Not while you still stay. Don't let him get in your head.
Guns.
I do not aim at my head. He who aims at his hand has forgotten the face of his father. I aim with my eye.
Over here.
I do not shoot with my hand. He who shoots with his hand has forgotten the face of his father. I shoot with my mind. I do not kill with my gun. He who kills with his gun has forgotten the face of his father. I kill with my heart.
Stop breathing.